Hello everyone, good day. Welcome back to our course PSY101 Introduction to Psychology. So for this week's module, we're going to talk about personality. So, what is personality, no? So to define what is personality, it is the word personality, no, originated from the Latin word persona, which referred to a theatrical mask worn by Roman actors in Greek dramas. These ancient Roman actors wore a mask or persona to project a role or false appearance. And this surface view of personality, of course, is not an acceptable definition. So when psychologists use the term personality, they are referring to something more than the role people play. So personality is a pattern of relatively permanent traits and unique characteristics that give both consistency and individuality to a person's behavior. So at this point of time, we're talking about one of the most interesting topic in psychology, which is personality. And when we are talking about personality, it is also can be portrayed or can be defined as how am I talking to you here right now in front of you. Okay? So, of course, here in this video lecture, I am discussing here as your professor, but when I go home, of course, in our house, I'm just a dishwasher. Okay? So, that's the point of me explaining what is psychology, or what is personality in psychology. So, it is somehow the role we play, but it is farther on how the role we play, no? But basically, we can say that it is something that the role we play. But, it is also different, no? Our personality is how we play it, how we portray ourselves to different settings and situations. So further than that, we can discuss a lot about personality. So let's move on to the concept of traits and characteristics. So when we say traits, these contribute to individual differences in behavior, consistency of behavior over time, and stability of behavior across situation. So that's how we see the trait. So traits may be unique, of course, common to some group, or shared by the entire species, and but their pattern is different for each individual. Thus, each person, though like other in some ways, has unique personality. Next, characteristics. When we say characteristics, these are unique qualities of an individual that include such attributes as temperament, physique, and intelligence. So I hope that this defines it very well on how these different concepts are different from each other. So now, why is it being a theory? No, because a theory is a scientific theory. It's a related assumption that allows scientists to use logical deductive reasoning to formulate testable hypotheses. So that's why the personality is also a theory, because it is somehow hypothesizing a concept that might be true to most of the people, but not everyone. That's why it is still called as a theory, because it is not a law. Because once it is true to everyone, then it is a law, of course. So now, let's discuss the theories of personality. Of course, theories of personality is one of the main point of course perspective in the field of psychology. So in the theories of personality, there are three, different branches of field of studies in the theories of personality. So first, the psychodynamic theories. Next, humanistic existential theories. And the next one is the dispositional theories. So I'll just give you a brief and introductory kind of discussion about the theories of personality, because we're going to discuss this further and deeply in your theories of personality subject. That will be a very interesting subject. So first, the psychodynamic theories. When we're talking about psychodynamic theories, here are the following psychodynamic theories. First, the psychoanalysis. Next, the individual psychology. Next, analytical psychology. Next, objective relations theory, psychoanalytic social theory, humanistic psychoanalysis, interpersonal theory, and post-Freudian theory. And we are going to discuss this one by one. So first, we have here psychoanalysis. So when we are talking about psychoanalysis, it is directly, related to Sigmund Freud, the father of the modern psychology. So for Sigmund Freud, he built the psychoanalytic theory. It is the theory where he set the personality as largely unconscious, hidden and unknown. That's why his theory is very focused on the unconscious. And also, human personality and behavior are powerfully shaped by early childhood relationships. That's why he had this concept of psychoanalytic psychosexual stages of development, from oral stage, anal stage, phallic stage, latency stage, and genitalia or genital stage. So with this, he had this concept that the human personality and behavior are powerfully shaped by early childhood experiences, and that most people are hedonistic. Next, individual psychology, and it was proposed by Alfred Adler, And Alfred Adler, proposed that individuals are oriented towards their goals to guide their behavior. Somehow his theory is somehow teleological rather than causal, Kasi the psychoanalysis of Freud is somehow causation, because he highlighted there that the past has a great impact of who you are in the present. But here in the individual psychology is highlighting the teleological aspect, on how the future shape you to be you in the present, for you to achieve your goal in the future. And it is goal-oriented. Also, he had this concept of striving for success or superiority, where you strive for success when you just wanted to be successful with everyone, and striving for superiority if you just want to have a successful goal for yourself and not for everyone. Next, subjective perceptions, of course, unity and self-consistency of personality, social interest or the Gemeinschaftsgefühl, Gemeinschaftsgefühl or social interest, styles of life. That's why we have this different lifestyle, and he referred it as the style of life. And also the creative power that he defined as that us as an individual, we have this different creative power to achieve our goals in the future. Okay? So these are the following concepts that Alfred Adler discussed and proposed in his individual psychology theory. Next, the analytical psychology of Carl Jung, and he is one of the most favorite psychologists in psychodynamic theories. And his name is Carl Gustav Jung, and he was actually associated with Sigmund Freud before, but at the end they separated because they had these differences in their belief in their concepts of psychodynamic in psychology. So Carl Jung proposed that the personality is transformed and developed by the relationship of the ego to the unconscious. So he highlighted here the ego, the relationship of the ego to the unconscious. And this somehow related with the unconscious concept of the psychoanalytic of Sigmund Freud, but there are some differences because of Carl Gustav Jung's different belief in psychodynamics. So he also pointed out that people are complex beings who are product of both conscious and unconscious. It is not only unconscious, but both conscious and unconscious. So people are also motivated by inherited remnants stemmed from the collective experiences of the early ancestors. He believed that our ancestors had a great impact of how we shaped our personality, how they experienced their lives. That's why it's also referred and transferred to us, and somehow that's the difference between his concept to Freud. So later on in our theories of personality subject, we're going to discuss deeper with this topic. Next, the objective relations theory of Melanie Klein. So Melanie Klein proposed that the development of self and psychological characteristics are explained in terms of the internalization of psychosocial experiences. And also, internal objects carry out functions performed by the external objects, trust, self-worth, and condemnation. So, dito yung pumasok si good breast and bad breast. How we relate ourselves to an object, on how we really interact with that object, and that's how we express our own psychological characteristics. Next, the psychoanalytic social theory of Karen Horney. So in his theory, she pointed out the social and cultural conditions, especially during childhood, of course, because this is psychodynamic, and have powerful effect on later personality. So also she pointed out, it is very interesting theory, because she pointed out that there is the concept of basic hostility and basic anxiety, which will be experienced by an individual, especially in childhood experience, and that might lead to the neurotic trends. And the neurotic trends are the moving towards people, the helplessness, and moving against people, hostility, and moving away from people, isolation. And also might lead to the different neurotic needs. Next, the humanistic psychoanalysis of Erich Fromm. So the most important product of your effort is your personality, and that's according to Erich Fromm, that humans have torn away from their prehistoric union with nature and left with a powerful instinct to adapt to the changing world. And he pointed out here, the different concepts such as love, the psychology of love somehow highlighted in his theory. Next one, the interpersonal theory of Harris Tax Sullivan. This is also a very interesting one. He pointed out here that personality is shaped almost entirely by the relationship we have with other people. So how we interact and how's our relationship with our other people is being shaped, or our personality is being shaped by how we interact with other people. And also he believed that such a relationship has the power to transform an immature pre-adolescent into psychologically healthy individual. So it's very interesting. For more discussion about this, just wait for our theories of personality subject. And also there are reading materials that you can provide if you ask. Okay. Next, the psychosocial theory of Erikson, or the post-Freudian theory, because he postulated here the 8 stages of psychosocial development through which people progress. There are different stages. These 8 stages have different struggles and also the strength to be developed. And this is very common theory, as you can see and as you can hear, in the field of psychology. So let's proceed with the humanistic existential theories. And these are the holistic dynamic theory, person-centered theory, and existential psychology. So tatlo lang yun. Unlike the psychodynamic, there are a lot of types of or different theories under the psychodynamic, because there are different amendments that they added. Yung order kasi ng psychodynamic theories are somehow had its differences, or hindi naman siya tinatawag na against to the previous psychodynamic theory, but it's just that they just had this development on how they theorized things in psychodynamic. So here in humanistic existential theories, here are the 3. We're going to discuss this one by one, and they are actually interesting, kasi it's not about the childhood experience, but it is about how you experience the reality of life in the world. Like, for example, let's proceed with the holistic dynamic theory of Abraham Maslow. So he assumed that the whole person is constantly being motivated by one need or another, and that people have potential to grow towards psychological health. Kaya nandoon sa kanyang hierarchy of needs. And he believed that we need to study psychologically healthy people in order for us to understand human nature and not psychopathological ones. So doon niya nag-compare, that we have to study those people who are psychologically healthy, kasi doon natin malalaman the human nature. That these are the totality of the needs that we need to accomplish. Ganun. And it resulted to his hierarchy of needs. Next, the person-centered theory of Carl Rogers. So in the person-centered theory of Carl Rogers, he believed that personality is an organized, consistent pattern of perception of the I or me that lies the heart an individual's experiences. So here he expressed also, no, the formative and actualizing tendencies, the self-subsystem, positive regard, of course, and the conditional positive regard. So, that's it. Next, the existential psychology, Rullan, no? It is proposed by Rullan, and his concept of Dasein, or being in the world, and the four simultaneous models, which are the Umwelt, Mitwelt, Eigenwelt, and Oberwelt. Also, the intentionality, the concept of care, love, and will, and the kind of love, which are the sex, eros, philia, and agape. Okay? Next, that's it for the humanistic existential theories. Next, let's proceed with the dispositional theories. And the dispositional theories are the psychology of the individual, no, and the trait and the factor theories. So, in the psychology of individual of Gordon Allport, actually is very interesting also, and somehow very complex theory. Not siya complex because all theories should be simple, no? But somehow it is on the aspect of the personal dispositions, which he believed that it could be reactive or it could be proactive. So, he also pointed out here, no, the three trait levels, the cardinal traits, the central traits, no, and secondary traits. So, he also added here the psychological healthy personality, you know. These are the following: the extension of the sense of self, warm relationship with others, no. Take down notes of this. Emotional security or self-acceptance, realistic view of the world, insight and humor, unifying philosophy of life. So these are the following, no, that he believed to be psychologically healthy personality if you are fit into this following that I mentioned earlier. So it's very interesting, by the way. Next, the trait factor theories, and these are the biological based factor theory and the 5-factor trait theory. And these are one of the hindi naman natin nasasabing newest, no? But they are the bomb, no? That somehow been believed, no, in the field of psychology. So, the biologically based factor theory, no, it is proposed by Hans Eysenck, and he believed that human personality is largely the product of genetics and not environment. So, dito na pumasok yung concept of personality and a genetic factor and not about environment. Kasi, in psychodynamic theory and also humanistic existential theory and dispositional, there are somehow environmental, no, of how we nurture. But here in the theory of Hans Eysenck, no, the biologically based factor theory, he pointed out here the importance also of the biological aspect or the genetics, which affects or shapes our personality as a person. Next, the 5-factor theory, trait theory of Macrae and Costa. They are very famous actually, and they postulated the Big Five model or the OCEAN, OCEAN, OCEAN. These are openness, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So that's it. So openness, the opposite of it is closeness, no? Being closed-minded, no? Being closed to personal isolation. Next, the conscientiousness, no? How you're somehow do things, no? Or somehow do things on your accordness, no? Next, the extraversion, no? The opposite is introversion. Agreeableness, and the opposite of agreeableness is being firm, no? And neuroticism is on how you handle or emotional stability. So that's it. So these are the different theories of personality, no, that we might discuss. So I hope that you have remembered these things. No? You may review it again, the video, and we're going to provide you a copy of this presentation. So also, before we're going to end our discussion, let's not forget the Filipino psychology. It's part of the theories that we might, I don't know, we have to discuss, no, because we're in the Philippine context. So we have to reconsider the Filipino psychology. And I'll just give you a glance of it because we're going to discuss this further to your subject, Filipino psychology, in the future. Of course, Filipino psychology, it was proposed by Virgilio Enriquez, a psychology based on the Filipinos' true thoughts, of course, feelings, behaviors, and must be derived from indigenous Filipino sources, language, and method. So, that's it. There is actually a Filipino psychology for your information, and these are largely and wholly based on the culture of the Philippines, especially the indigenous people. So, that's according to based, and these data are empirical, study-based, and somehow still been developing, in the current state of the Filipino people here in the Philippines. So, I guess that's all for my discussion for this topic, personality. I hope you have learned something. Thank you everyone for listening. Good day and see you next week.